Technically speaking, ethanol shouldn't even be on the human menu. It provides zero functional energy. It has no essential nutrients, and if you drink too much, your cerebral cortex crashes like a buggy Windows update. It stops your hypothalamus from releasing antidiuretic hormones, which is a fancy way of saying it turns your bladder into a leaky faucet. When you are wasted, your left brain attacks your right brain, your bladder replaces your logic, and your limbs start moving like a broken marionette. Yet, despite being a literal toxin, alcohol is a superstar in human history. Why? Because it hacks our reward system, triggering a massive release of dopamine and endorphins. For some, quitting booze is just as hard as quitting, well, other primitive desires. But there is a much deeper, more ancient reason why we drink. To find the answer, we have to look at our ancestors, the drunken monkeys. Millions of years ago, before we were apex predators, we were just skinny little primates looking for lunch. Our primary food source was fruit. In the tropical forest, yeast naturally ferments the sugars in overripe fruit into ethanol and carbon dioxide. This is the famous Drunken Monkey Hypothesis. Back then, if you couldn't handle your liquor, you didn't just lose your dignity at a party, you died. Alcohol is toxic to most animals. But our ancestors developed a genetic mutation, specifically in the ADH4 gene, which allowed them to metabolize ethanol 40 times faster than other primates. This booze buff allowed us to eat the fermented fruit that other animals had to avoid. We survived because we were the only ones who could eat the rotten stuff and not get poisoned. Evolution literally handpicked the best drinkers to be our great-grandparents. The problem is, those ancient rotten fruits only had about 3% alcohol. Today's grain juice, rice juice, and sorghum juice are 10 to 20 times stronger than anything nature intended. Our bodies, evolved over millions of years for low-grade cider, are now facing a chemical invasion. The moment you bottoms up, the high-concentration alcohol hits your mouth, sucking the moisture out of your cells. That is why the more you drink, the thirstier you get. Then it hits the stomach, and here is the design bug. Humans have incredibly strong gastric acid, almost like a scavenger, but our stomach lining is only 0.5 to 1 millimeter thick. Alcohol easily dissolves the protective mucus barrier, allowing the gastric acid to attack your own stomach wall. It is a double corrosion effect. Under these conditions, your digestive enzymes lose their mind and start digesting you. When they reach your nerve endings, that burning sensation is literally your stomach eating itself. To make it worse, alcohol inhibits the synthesis of prostaglandins, the chemicals responsible for repairing your stomach lining. You are basically setting your house on fire and firing the firefighters at the same time. After trashing your stomach, the alcohol enters the small intestine and heads straight for the liver. Here, it is converted into acetaldehyde and then into acetic acid, basically vinegar. But the middleman, acetaldehyde, is the real villain. It is both water-soluble and fat-soluble, meaning it has a VIP pass to enter any cell it wants. Once inside, it starts breaking and mutating your DNA. Ethanol opens the city gates, and acetaldehyde enters to burn and pillage. Your liver is also the place where fat is processed. But when alcohol shows up, the liver stops everything else. Why? Because fat can wait, but alcohol is a ticking time bomb that will destroy other organs if not neutralized immediately. If you drink constantly, the fat just keeps piling up in the liver cells. Congratulations! You've just invited alcoholic fatty liver to stay for dinner. If you drink faster than your liver can work, the excess alcohol travels through your blood, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and starts terrorizing your neurons. In medicine, alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. It specifically targets the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, impulse control, and not being an idiot. This is why people do brave things they regret later. Some want to kiss everyone in the room. Others become aggressive and want to fight their best friends. It is the classic liquid courage paradox, of course. We know alcohol is terrible for the body. But in a high-pressure modern world, a small drink can sometimes be a psychological reset. It is like a trade, minus 100 points for physical health, plus 100 points for mental sanity. Just remember, don't overdo it. Stay moderate, and for the love of evolution, never drink and drive.